Time to return to Visual Studio and see how we can have two components work with state. You now already know a lot more about dependency injection, and we'll use that to work with state. We'll in fact enable two components, which are not nested in this case, to talk with each other through a shared memory space, let's say. We'll allow them to work with the same data, and that data is application state. In fact, we can save whatever we want in application state and use it from another component. That's what I want to do here. I'll show you application state by using one of the widgets that we have dynamically showing here on the home page. Now we see here that we currently have 9 questions. Remember, that was a random value, but maybe I need that value from somewhere else in my application. Maybe another component also needs access to that. Now, that's not possible. Definitely, if it's not a nested component, I'll solve that with application state. So what I'll do is I'll create an application state class. Again, application state is nothing known to Blazor. It is just a class. I'll give it the name application state, but you can name it whatever you want. And I'll put it in the root of the application. So I'll add a new class. I'll call it application state. In here, I will add all the state properties of my application. For example, that number of messages could be a state value. So that's added here. I'll add number of messages as a property on the application state. Now, in order to make this known within my application, I'll head back to the program and I'll register an instance of this application state with my dependency injection container. The dependency injection container, there's just one instance of that, and if I register in the services collection through add scoped an instance of the application state, that application state instance that will be then injected into dependency injection container can be retrieved from wherever we want in the application, so across multiple components. So I'll register here that I want application state to be registered in a scoped way. One instance will be created. We could have used add singleton here. That would have had the same result. There is in fact just one instance for the running application being created. Let me do now what I just said. I'm going to create a new component. Let's call it the inbox counter, as a new component that also needs access to that number of messages. So I'll create a new Razor component and I'll call it inbox counter. And of course, let's add a backing class. In the UI, I'm just going to display the value of message count. That's a field I still need to create on my backing class. So here is that message count, which I now set to a random value. Now message count is a random value, but I cannot access it inside of the widget, for example. Let's solve that using application state. I'm going to, again through dependency injection, so using the inject attribute, inject an instance of application state. There was just one instance, application white. So I can now say that application state dot number of messages, that was the property, is equal to message count. Now this component sets the value inside of the application state. Now I need access to this value in another component, the inbox widget. Instead of having this also calculate the random value, we'll let it access that application state value. So we'll inject here also the application state, that is the same instance of the application state. And in here, in the onInitialized, I won't make it a random number anymore, but I'll instead get the value of message count from the application state number of messages. I want to show you that these two components, which don't know about each other, can actually show the same value. So I'm going to go to my main layout, and in here, I'll add the inbox counter. If we now run the application again, we'll see that the same value is shown both on the index page as well as in the navbar. There we go. It says here that we have 6 questions, and also here at the top, we see the 6 messages coming back. These two components are reading out the same data. And that data is stored in state and can be used pretty much everywhere within my application.